Hey everyone, welcome to the Be Bold, Make Waves podcast, a show bringing you inspiring stories of women who are growing and scaling their business. I'm your host, Laura Comark, a website and tech integration specialist who works with online business owners who love their work and not their website. Join me as we have incredible conversations about business, mindset, productivity, and of course, the website and tech behind the business. Let's go ahead and dive in to this week's episode. Hello and welcome to this week's show. For those of you who don't already know me, I'm Laura Comark, sales funnel evergreen systems expert who works with coaches, consultants who are ready to level up and simplify their business. I'm so excited to introduce you to my guest today. Jean Coelho is a corporate graphic designer turned creative entrepreneur who has helped hundreds of women solopreneurs confidently plan, design, and market their work from anywhere businesses online. After the sudden death of her brother-in-law 2 years ago, her passion for her brand design business disappeared. She knew it was time to make a change, so with the heavy stages of grief behind her, she co-founded Nouvelle Brand Photography with her daughter, Catherine. They have carved a niche as location-first photographers for beautifully branded image libraries for effective online content creation. The passion is back, and they are sharing it with other women-owned brands and businesses. Jean, thank you so much for coming on the show today. Can you tell us a little bit more about your background story on how all this got going?
Well, that was a mouthful. Hearing it back, I was like, wow, you did really good because that was a lot. I was a trained graphic designer. And so I went to graphic design school and got certified in the mid 90s. And so my parents actually, they didn't encourage me in life. And they basically said I wouldn't make any money as an artist because I'm classically trained as an artist. I could draw you perfectly. And I loved art. So I decided to take matters into my own hands and go to design school. So I worked in San Francisco and LA in different Fortune 500 companies in their marketing departments, and then went to a reunion in 97, and I met my husband at the reunion. So once we dated for a couple of years, we got married in Napa, and then we moved down to a small dairy town in Central California, and it was the biggest shock of my life because I loved taking the BART into the city and going. I did design for Bank of America, Wells Fargo, like wherever they would send me. So I had to transition to work at home designer, and there was no handbook. And back in 2001 or 2002, they just had business in a box. So if you wanted to do an online business, the only resource you had was this business in a box. And so as I started having kids and things changed, of course, in what we do, everything evolves and there's no warning. So as the longer you work, change is inevitable. So I joke that I was online before the internet actually turned their lights on, because I don't remember when I just started. I saw Facebook and I saw Twitter, and I always joined these things before I was ready, because I thought I don't know, is there an entrepreneurial gene? Because I feel like people who are entrepreneurs, they do things that even they don't understand.
Yeah, I feel like one of the biggest things is like the difference I see between like the perfectionists and the ones who are willing to do it messy and just put it out there and go. Those are the people who move a lot faster and get where they're trying to go a lot quicker, because they just go and do it before they're ready, before, just like what you're saying, like before you're ready and you know what it's going to do and how it's going to help your business. Like you just trust that
Right.
Going forward and taking a chance can help you get to your goals.
And like with what you do, I started an email list before I knew what a sales funnel was, or, you just supposed to back then it was just get people into your list. And I don't even think Jenna Kutcher was big back then. I want to say Amy Porterfield, and there was another lady back in the mid 2000s. And thank goodness for those people, those trailblazers, because I always felt like there was something more and better. And so they really helped me in this small, stinky corner of Central California. I mean, you couldn't, because they shake the walnut trees certain times of the year. And so then the flies will literally just stick to your front door. And so with the dairies and that, and then cotton is big. So we've since moved. We're about an hour away from Yosemite now.
Okay.
And so anyway, so it's just evolved. And so for 23 years, I was a brand designer. And after a lot of word of mouth referrals and just taking any business,
Mhm.
I've done flooring companies. I helped design the branding for a woman that made bras for women recovering from breast surgery with cancer. And she actually was arrested for defrauding insurance companies. And I was the one that made her website. So I'm sure when they were going in the Wayback Machine, they were looking at that website.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, there was just all kinds. And as time went on, I just found that I understood other women-owned businesses, especially mompreneurs. Everyone calls themselves something different, but um, when you're working and you're kind of making things up as you go, and trying not to buy really expensive courses that aren't going to help you, and raising your kids, there's a different marketing plan for that. And I loved that because I learned everything on Google while my kids napped.
Yes, I can relate to that so much. My kids this is the first year for me that they're both in the same school at the same time. And
Oh,
I actually have 5 days a week where I can work
oh,
on my business. And this just started in August of last year. And I'm like, this is a whole new phase of my business. I actually feel like I'm
right.
able to commit to more time with it because before it's been, I spent so many years of just like the nap time hustle of, okay, I have maybe 20 minutes. How much can I get done right now? And
Yeah,
so,
you feel like you were treading water for all those years and you were able to do it, but then, like there's a time and season for everything. Then now they're in school and you're like, oh, I can actually breathe and think better.
Mhm. Yeah, it was a really interesting adjustment. Like when they first started in August, and I was like, oh, okay. I was so unproductive. I had all this time and I was just like finding myself sitting here like, what am I supposed to do next? Like I had too much time and I couldn't figure out a flow. And it took me about a month to really get into like, okay, now I got this figured out and how I'm going to do it. And
Yeah.
so it's been amazing since then. I mean, right now, at the time of this recording is almost the end of January, and there's this whole like email compliance thing happening. That's a new thing coming. That's a new requirements coming out
Really?
for
I don't even
Google
know
and
about that.
Yahoo. Oh my gosh, I it's been a lot, like the
Oh
past
no.
month of like researching and learning and finding out all the information and getting it all set up. And then making offers to like, reaching out to my maintenance clients. I've had some people that I've done it for that then have like blasted it out to their list. So I've had a lot of stuff going on with that. And even just with that, I was telling my husband the other night, I'm like, I wouldn't have been able to do this if the kids weren't gone 5 days a week. And I know like right now also there's big snowstorms. It doesn't affect us in California, but everywhere else
Yeah.
in the country, I'm hearing just all the moms are like, I can't, the kids just went back to school and now they've been home so much because of all these snow days. Like it's a struggle to try to be able to do both. And I know like when my kids are home, I want to be present with them. I'm not, and I can't get work done when they're home.
Yeah. No, no, it's difficult. It's really difficult. Well, I'm happy for you. And I want to learn more about the email compliance stuff because I'm getting my sales funnels and lists going as we speak. So
Yeah, there's new requirements that effective. I mean, it's like this elusive February thing that's happening where they want just certain validation records to be put in place. And so basically in the past, and I should have done a podcast episode. I'm back to that place
You're
of like
going to
treading
need
water.
to. Yeah, you're going to need to.
I'm treading water and trying to get it all done. And so there just hasn't been a lot of time to do anything else. But basically what's happening is in the past, who do you use for your email marketing? Who do you send through like ActiveCampaign, ConvertKit?
I used Flowdesk
Okay.
when the last 3 years. So when their beta came out,
Mhm.
I jumped on that bandwagon because they're beautiful and appealed to me better. When I started doing digital products and courses, I did ConvertKit, and it was too much for me. It was just too much.
So in the
Before that was MailChimp.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was the early. I think
Yep.
everyone who
Everyone.
starts, they have the little badge. Everyone should have a little badge. I started with MailChimp.
I got smart and I avoid
Yeah,
stay away from the monkey. That's what I always
yeah,
tell people. Just
yeah.
stay away from the monkey. So basically in the past, what's been happening is when you send an email out to your list, Flowdesk or ActiveCampaign or the monkey will all be like, I vouch for Jean. I say she's not a spammer. She is who she says she is, but you're using their like domain authority. I know that's like buzzwordy
Yeah.
and, technical, but like they were vouching for you and saying you're not spamming people, like you are who you say you are. And
That's going
also,
away. Is that
hmm?
going away? Is
That
that
is
going away?
that is going away. And so then also something else that some people were able to do is you could have emailed from like jeancoelho@gmail.com instead of like hello at
Yeah,
yourdomainname.com
right.
or, something, a domain branded email. That's also going away. So now this is, again, something that was always kind of the best practice to set up, but not a lot of people did it. I know I didn't do it for clients because, to be honest, I didn't really know much about
Yeah,
it because it wasn't
yeah,
something talked about that had ever
right,
come up. Now
right.
it's been real buzzy and it's being talked about a lot more because of these new regulations that, requirements basically. And so Google and Yahoo came out last year and were like, hey, we're going to tighten up restrictions because there's a lot of spam. I mean,
Mhm.
okay, show of hands who has a Yahoo account that is full of spam. I'm like, I have like one of the ones, like my first ever email account that I still have, and I still can't, like, there's still some things I'm like, how do I get this to change the email? Because it
Mhm.
just gets spam. And so the reason they're doing this, it is a good thing. They're trying to crack down on all the spam and all the junk that's getting sent out on the daily to all of us. And, but there's a lot of junk happening. They're not like trying to hurt us little people who are, emailing our list. They're trying to do it from all
Yeah.
around. And so now basically instead of ActiveCampaign, ConvertKit, Flowdesk, whoever saying, I can vouch for you, you're not allowed to do that anymore. And you have to go put in specific records that get put into your DNS, sorry, Buzzy, where your
You
domain,
have to go into the DNS, really?
and put in specific records that you get that's because in theory, you're the only person who would have access to those records.
Exactly. So that shows you're not a spammer.
So it shows you are who you say you are, and the email is coming from you, and you go in and say, like, hey, I'm only going to be sending emails from ConvertKit, from Dubsado, from G Suite. And
Mhm.
those are the places I'm sending emails from. So as long as you see emails and they say they're coming from me and they're coming from these places that I put in the record that I told you that I'm going to be sending them from, then we're good. And so it's
So
just,
would this apply to HoneyBook? I use HoneyBook, but HoneyBook kind of goes through Gmail, I want to
it
say,
depends on how, like, when
how
there's a
it's set
little,
up.
yeah, it depends on how it's set up. It also, like, are you sending from a domain email? Are you sending from an @Gmail email? So
Right. So it depends.
there's a lot of different things that can depend. You kind of have to look at every different
Well, I'm
scenario.
going to check into that because
Oh,
that is new news. I did see that quickly, I think, in your Instagram yesterday.
yeah.
And I'm back on. My son goes to Fresno State, and I have we only have one car because even though they're all driving age, we can't get three cars. So I am still driving them, but I saw it in between drop off and pickup yesterday.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I need to put some more stuff together. And again, like I was like, I'd love to do a blog episode or not a blog,
Actually, I'll
podcast
have you
episode.
blog, guest blog on mine. I would
Yeah.
love to do that.
Yeah.
We need to do an interview anyway, but that would be really helpful for my audience as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So yeah, that's kind of what's going on there. It's been a real interesting for me. But we can talk more about that later. I want to talk
Okay.
more about you and your business and how you're working with people now with the brand photography with your daughter and how are you helping the online entrepreneurs with their photos?
Okay. So, so we transitioned it was around this time last year, we were getting ready to launch. And so we want to help creative entrepreneurs, mompreneurs, women owned businesses with the brand photography, but the camera part comes last. It's the very last thing because of all the knowledge that I have and experience with the branding and brand strategy and online business, course creation, digital products, Etsy shop, YouTube, like all those things that I've done for 23 years. I'm seeing that it really created the perfect business because of all of that, because there are different types of photographers and um, not everyone specializes in online business and definite ROI with the photography because I understand what type of photography you would need for your website header because I've created. I used to design in WordPress, and then I went to Squarespace and I loved it. So I understand what is needed for that. And then if you don't have a cohesive online presence, it affects it, the trust and loyalty and that kind of stuff. And I really am a firm believer that, I mean, because I've lived it and you have too, that just because you work from a small corner of the world in a bedroom or a kitchen or a laptop on your couch, whatever it is, that doesn't mean you can't market in an amazing way and speak to your audience. You just have to know how to do it. And messaging is almost the death of every brand because it's very difficult to do. And not everyone has the marketing budget to hire a copywriter. And just like any expert, there's so many people that don't want to invest in that because they don't see the value in it. And so, but and it's also a fear of finding and paying someone that isn't going to give you something that is going to generate you more income.
Yeah.
So for us, that is our goal. We are here to help you generate more income because we can tell your story in a way that's more creative than you just getting headshots with a paper background behind you and different blazer shots and headshots. So we cover all the bases that you need based on your revenue goals and the platforms that you use based on who your target audience is.
Oh, I love that. I know for me, like I have some really great brand photos that I use for all the things. I had her do some flat lays, but I still sometimes am like, man, I struggle with finding like the images to use for other things, like even just on my website, because a lot of my flat lays, I really only have like a couple that are really different from the other ones. Like there's, 5 that are kind of the same idea, but stuff moved around a little.
Right.
How are you doing photos like remote or is it on site?
Yeah. So we travel to wherever if anyone wants us in the United States and even Canada, we'll travel. But if it's a product, then you can ship us your products.
Mhm.
And then what we really like to stand out as is, like you said, a location first photographer, because your location will make or break the photos. So, and you want to have, I mean, everyone imagines having an image library that's branded that is in your Google Drive or whatever, and you just go in and you find, your own, it's like your own subscription based folder. And so you can find the photos that would be perfect for whatever your marketing is. And so, like Instagram ads or Facebook ads. I love Instagram story ads because for $5 a day, and you just need a more vertical image, you can start attracting your real audience. And so in my head, every picture has dollar signs attached to it because it goes somewhere.
Yeah.
It's fit to go somewhere. So if you have products, then you send us your products. We love food, and especially gluten-free, because we have celiac disease, my girls and I. And I didn't know that we had celiac until my 16-year-old daughter was diagnosed with it. And then when we went gluten-free in the house, and I tried to go out and eat at a restaurant the way I used to eat, I got sick. And so, yeah, it's something that when we were building out the business plan, we thought, it would be really nice to niche down in a way. I mean, not completely niche down, but say that we provide clean beauty and clean products. And we love Purely Elizabeth. And, there's different brands that we use and love. And so that makes it so much easier to pitch. Like, I'm learning so much about pitching for photography because for so long, I was doing the same thing. I was doing design, and I had hundreds of blog posts. Getting rid of my business before was called Sweet Bluebird, and getting rid of Sweet Bluebird's website was I had to do this and then hit the button. Okay, delete, not think about it, because I had hundreds of blog posts. I had a digital shop. I had courses, and I just had to pull the plug on it. And it was one of the hardest things that I had to do.
Oof. Yeah, that delete button, man.
Yeah.
It's definitely anxiety fueling for sure. Oh,
so I think for people that work from home, the selling and the pitching part is really difficult. And so what I would say is, your photography will be the next step after your pitching. So when you're ready to pitch, you need to have that image library so you feel confident with how your brand is perceived, because, you have to have a logo and existing brands, because we have people come to us and they don't have anything. And my branding side wants to provide that for them, but I'm like, no, I can't do that anymore. So just finding businesses that you align with makes the pitching more authentic and natural and successful. We have an appointment on Friday, a discovery call with a tea company that I'm so excited about. It's organic, and they help with different emotional things. And that just really connected with us. And the conversation just started in Instagram. And so that is the one thing I would say, that authenticity all the way from the pitch to your online presence is very important. So we help connect the dots.
I love that. I know when I finally was ready to up-level my business, and I went and got brand photos done, because before, I had a nice photo that I used that my husband had taken, and then someone I knew who used to be a photographer, she did some magic to it. And I just used that for years.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was part of a brand shoot for a client that I worked with. And so we had done brand photos, and there was some that were just solo, and we were allowed to use those, but they didn't feel like me. They were her brand.
Right.
There was a brick background, a wall, and they brought a blazer for me to wear, a white blazer. I'm like, I don't own a blazer. I'm linen and bare feet all day long. That's what I wear. And that's me. And I know then when I was like, okay, I need to have my own brand photos done. And I was stressing, I'm like, what am I going to wear for shoes? I'm like, I don't have shoes to wear. I don't ever wear shoes. I'm like, I'm not going to wear shoes because I don't wear shoes. I'm barefoot right now.
Awesome. That's so great. Yeah, that's the whole thing. And I think also, because we are entrepreneurs and we always feel like we have to take the lead, that goes into the photography part. You're like, I got to figure out what I have to wear, and I have to figure out the location, and I have to figure all that. We are kind of a white glove service in that we guide you and walk you through, and you don't have to feel like you do it alone. I mean, working alone, I understand. I just don't want anyone to feel alone. And the more you do, the less creative you'll feel. So that's where we come in. So you wouldn't have to worry about what you're supposed to wear. We'll give you wardrobe tips and location tips. There's this great company called Home Studio List. Have you seen Home Studio List? So it's homestudiolist.com. We use them mostly because not every Airbnb will allow for commercial photography. And so with Home Studio List, that is built into the contract. And so for legal reasons, it's safe. And they have gorgeous styled homes that you just show up to. They charge by the hour. And being in California, we have a good pick. There's a lot to choose from, but they have them all over the country, and they even have some in Canada.
Oh, that's so cool. I'll have to
Yeah.
link that up in the show notes.
Yeah. Yeah. They're great.
So I want to pivot a little bit and talk a little bit about tech because I'm such a tech person. I
Oh
love
yeah, I
hearing
love
about
tech.
other
I love it.
people's tech. What would
Mhm.
you say are some of your favorite online tools for content creation?
Okay. Well, um, from start to finish, I guess if I was starting to create content, what I do is I like Trello because of the boards.
Mhm.
I know Asana is really good, and that's great for project management. But when I am feeling kind of overwhelmed and know I just need to start, if I just create a board that says brainstorm or sometimes I'll just do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and just to make the week, then I'm able to flesh it out. So you can put images in there, you can put links in there. So my first go-to when I need to, besides paper, because like, I mean, look, I love journals and calendars, and we photograph these. So I have all these. I have three more over there. So I love, and I draw. So I love putting pen to paper first. But Trello, I've become more digital than I was because of just being on the computer so much. So Trello is my favorite place to start. And then if you can't afford brand photography, there for free, there's unsplash.com. And then Canva, I would get the pro. That's only $12 a month. And their photography has gotten so much better, so much. And then, so the different levels, free, less expensive, a little more expensive, but still doable is Elevate. And I'll give you the link, my link to that. That is Shay Cochran, Graham Cochran's wife, Shay. She has done this. She used to be Social Squares, and now they have video that's great for reels, and they have imagery. So just for imagery, it's $39 a month, which is doable. So you can set the filter so that you only get a certain group of colors. You could put beach in there, you could put wedding in there, and just do the keywords, and it will give you the images that you need. So if you want to look high level, but not hire a photographer yet, I love Elevate. That's who I recommend.
Oh, I haven't heard of them, so I'm excited to see
Oh
your link
yeah.
and check that
Yeah,
out
you'll have to
because
see. They're beautiful. They have all kinds, and they just have the heart of a woman entrepreneur built into every image. Um, so from planning to the imagery, then back to Canva, I create everything in Canva. I used to be an Adobe Illustrator and InDesign and Photoshop girl, and I haven't really looked back. We use Lightroom, but I create in Canva and love it. And even their templates are so much better now too.
yeah, they've come a
Yeah.
long way.
Yeah. And then for scheduling, if you're going to schedule out your content, I love, and not many people talk about this, but I love Smarter Cue. Have you heard of
Oh, okay.
Smarter?
I
Yes.
have heard of it.
Have you?
I have not used SmarterQ. I'm using Social Bee.
Oh, that's newer, isn't it? Is it newer?
I don't know. I don't know when
Oh,
it came out. It was something that was recommended in another group that I'm in, and I saw it recommended a few different times. And so it was between that and Smarter Q, and then it had a bee on it. So I went with that one because
I know my daughter Catherine loves bees.
I like the bee. So
That's
so that's why
funny.
I went with them. And I've been with them for almost a year now. I do put I schedule out my posts and I have it set to repeat because I'm a big fan of evergreen content. Uh,
Yeah.
Something that I really try to get set up for my clients as well. Once they're like done with the website and then get their like foundational funnels in, like the next step is starting to evergreen things because I feel like we're all spending a lot of time like in this creation mode
Oh, it's
and
too much.
really
It's too
like
much.
what we need to be doing is building relationships. And so if we can, I mean, for a long time, I outsourced my Instagram
Yeah.
um, because Instagram always it was too much, but I wanted to show up consistently somewhere. So that was one of the first things I outsourced in my business is I hired Lizzie from Wild Feather Co. to do my Instagram. And she did that for years. And then actually like, I think in a week from now, she's doing a whole new with her VIP day that she does like a 6 months worth of evergreen content.
Yeah.
Um,
That's the best.
and so she's going to kind of shake it up for me because I was just ready for something new and fresh. And I'm so excited about that because if I can have that, it's one less thing on my plate that I need to like be thinking about in the back of my head of like, oh, I have to go post or do, even just batching out the posting. Like if you
Yeah.
can get it in a place where it's able to like set it and run, and then you just have to post as things happen in life, it
Yeah. No,
feels
it's
a lot less.
and repetition works.
Yeah.
People, you can show something over and over. That's why I like Smarter Q because if you can't post for a little bit, it will loop your best performing content. And when I had my digital shop, it did the selling for me. And sometimes I'd be like, oh, I haven't posted for 2 weeks. And then I'm still getting notifications that people are buying things. So it's good. But yeah, I've tried all of them. I've tried Hootsuite and Buffer and I mean later and gosh, there's so many. Planoly. I don't know if that's more just Instagram, but I have tried them all. And I just always want to find the one that gives me the most bang for my buck
Mhm.
and isn't a drain on my brain because there's just so many things. And then like you said, we have 3 kids. They came in 4.5 years. And so I I was not functioning properly, I don't think. I wasn't. And then life things pop up. So like you
Mhm.
said with Evergreen, I am a huge supporter of that. I second that strongly.
Yeah, because life happens and you can't always send that weekly email out. So if
Yeah.
you know that you're good, your email list is going to get nurtured and they're going to get offers made to them and it's good content. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, we don't have any control when we email. If I email someone right now, I have no control over when they're going to look at that email anyway. It might not
Yeah.
be till they clean out their inbox in 2 months.
Yeah.
Like that happens, or
Yeah.
they'll read it in a week. Like, or they read it right now. Who knows? So to me, it's valuable. If it's valuable when you're writing it, it's valuable as long as it's, not date specific,
Right.
obviously. But
Right.
I'm a huge
Yeah.
proponent in setting that up for my clients so that they can focus on building relationships, going and being visible and filling the front end of the funnel so that they know with confidence because we talk so much about like build the list, build the list, build the list. But
Hmm.
once you build the list, if you don't
You have to.
email the list,
Yeah.
there's there's no point.
And so do a lot of your clients have blogs? Do they point or do they pin? Like, do they use Pinterest to get traffic to the website and get the email list? Do you see that much?
A lot of them, they're not using those strategies. I have one client that we set up a couple years ago. We got her evergreen email sequence set up. She still needs to, I think she's on month 5 or 6. And the goal is to get to 12 months. And I believe she was posting back to like past blog posts because she had a lot of past blog content. She does have some YouTube content that
Mhm.
I mean, I looked at her YouTube channel and one of them, I'm like, you have a ton of views on this. Like we need to be doing something with this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but other than that, I mean, it's just, is that what she's thinking? Maybe she is. Because I don't write the emails for my clients. They either hire
Oh,
someone to do that or they write it themselves. I just go in and do the tech setup for all of that. And
okay.
then I know one of the other clients that I recently set it up for, she doesn't have a lot of blog posts, but she just has a lot of content in general. So there's other things that she's, you know, relating back to, and she's telling a lot of stories and she's sending to like podcast episodes she's been on and
Mhm.
stuff like that. I know she has talked about doing a Pinterest strategy, but I think it's just like, on all the things.
Yeah. Yeah. Pinterest, I embraced Pinterest for this business, and it has really, I think, actually LinkedIn is giving me the most traffic right now, which I'm surprised because LinkedIn's on my favorite, but Pinterest, because I started from nothing. I mean, my stats are like I've improved 6,600% because I wasn't using it. But the whole idea of just getting things running smoothly is something that I encourage people to do. And because everyone has different personalities and can handle doing things in a way because of, I think, like your upbringing and the amount of stress that you allow yourself to operate under. And so the photo shoots that we do, we want to provide them for people that want an experience, that you, for your business, like a lot of people, you've gone on these creative retreats or you meet with other people and they're just so good for the soul and for your business, and also it connects you all in a way that it brings you business too, because you only want to hire people that you trust, right?
Yep,
So
absolutely.
it's basically like a mini creative retreat, because if you book a whole day, we do the location scouting, we do the prop recommendations. Everything will fit the vibe of your brand. So like the other day, Catherine and I on Monday, we went to Anthropology here in town. That one, we went there first because that fits more of the vibe of our brand, kind of boho, quirky, has some flair, higher end, and colorful. I just really love that for our brand. And then I have a lot of realtors that I have been talking to, and Banana Republic, they actually have a free 45-minute personal stylist that will help you find clothes that work for you. And so I'm going to be doing a blog post on that, but Banana Republic's good for those that need the blazers and more refined professional look, which works for realtors. Trying to think what else. And then online, there's Chick Wish, or is it Sheen or Shine? I don't know how to say it. Those are cheaper, and they're have a different personality than what you would find in the store. So yeah. So anyway, I don't know where I was going with that, but
I
I guess
love all
really
those resources.
the personality of everyone's brand is different. And really, once you connect with what that is and we help you establish what that is, then it really makes you feel relieved, because there's so much that like you said, you were stressing about having to wear shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, the confidence that I know I felt once I had all those photos of like, now I have this library to choose from, and I have that I can use for content creation, for my website, for anything. And
Yeah.
that it helps level up my business. It helped make me feel more confident. Like it's totally worth it. How often do you recommend that people like redo their brand photos?
I think a good rule of thumb is about 6 months. However, in this world that we live in, 6 months kind of goes by like a flash, but a year is fine. And so if you want a great way, like you said, if you have a good collection of images, maybe not an insane amount, but you have a good collection of images, getting Elevate will help you pad those, because you can find images that fit your brand that will just naturally go right into what you already have. And it will definitely beef everything up.
That's good to know. Yeah, because I mean, I have a ton of photos. I think she gave me 155
Yeah.
photos.
Oh,
So
that's great.
I have a lot of photos.
Uh-huh. And
She's
when did you do that?
2021.
Oh, yeah.
So it's been a little while, and I was like, am I ready? I'm like, I don't know what I would wear because I'm still wearing the same things. I had gotten like some new clothes, and I was
Uh-huh.
like, oh, I should do a brand shoot because I got these little great like
Yeah.
on-brand outfits, and
Yeah.
I'm still
They
wearing them.
have some home studio lists in Ventura. I was looking. Actually, we know someone, uh, Nicole, who's in Canada, and I was telling her there's this beautiful place in Orange County. It's in Lakewood, and it is stunning. They have this raw wood table outside that
Mhm.
it's rough. It's like from nature, and then they have these, beautiful blown glass um, pendant lights in the kitchen. I mean, there's not one spot in that house that isn't beautiful. And so I was trying to entice her to come to Orange County. And she's like, I go, it's only about 15 minutes from Disneyland. She goes, oh, please. It's not going to be too hard to twist my arm.
Oh,
So I'm sorry, go
I'm
ahead.
gonna bug her about that one. Get
Yeah,
behind that.
yeah, because we could, and you can get together with other women to book the place. And so we can split it up. We actually were going to, there's a beautiful home in San Jose that's only about 2.5 hours from us. And we were going to, in February, do a shoot and rent it for 8 hours and then make it like a creative planning business day. And everyone would get an hour with my daughter, the photographer. And then when they weren't getting their photos taken, we would be working on either maybe a Facebook ad strategy or something else. And then we have a friend she's a flower farmer. So we would have beautiful flowers. And so we were going to do it in February, but I had COVID last July. And then in September, my right knee just blew up for no reason. And I literally was in bed from September till right after Christmas.
Oh,
I couldn't walk. And I was thinking, like you start something. We launched the business in June, and I was thinking, I'm not going to be able to walk. What am I going to do? Do I have to pivot to all digital again? And it really was a hard time. And that was only a month ago when I came out of it. And now I'm walking. I just have to, it seems like I'm getting better. So I don't know if it was long COVID or I don't know what happened.
yeah.
Totally unexplainable. So I do have it on the radar. If anyone is interested in having some kind of a day retreat like that, let me know, because we really do want to do that. And there's so many places to choose from, but the San Jose one is on my radar. And then the Lakewood one is on my radar.
How fun.
Yeah.
So we are getting close to our time. I could sit and talk to you all day. Like, this is so fun.
Good.
I have one question that I ask everyone who comes on the podcast, and that is, what is one piece of advice you would give to someone when they are growing and scaling their business that would help them be bolder, be louder, and make waves?
Wow, that's a great question. I would say, actually, this is funny. When I was in the pickup lines, I had some things came to me, and I had this Chipotle bag. So I wrote it on the bottom that there's 5 things. So vision, planning, trial and error, trust, timing, and then rinse and repeat. And because timing is everything, and you have a vision first. And so then you get the vision, you start planning, and and don't be afraid to make mistakes and give yourself grace. We put a lot of pressure on ourselves.
Mhm.
And just like what happened to me from September to December, I didn't know how things were going to turn out. It was really difficult. So just give yourself grace. If you have a vision, I didn't put any tissues here, but if you have a vision and you feel it in your gut and you can't stop thinking about it, then start the planning process. And don't stop until you find your people, the people that you feel most comfortable working with and connecting with. And don't be afraid to socialize. Like on Instagram, this is how this interview was born. And I'm so thankful.
Oh, I love that. I think that is amazing advice and a great place for us to wrap this up. Jean, can
Okay.
you tell everyone where our listeners can find out more about you online, where they can
Yes.
connect with you?
Yes, our website is brandphotographyclovisca.com, which if you're trying to get a domain name, I recommend using your keywords and your location because that definitely helps people in your area find you. So that's what we did. And I'm on Instagram. We're Nouvelle Brand Photography. And we have a lot of bonuses up our sleeve right now. So if you call, we'll find the one that fits you best. So we like to do our discovery calls on the phone because it's less pressure. You don't have to be on video, and it's the most productive way. And we have everything planned. We have questionnaires for everything, and we plan everything out. So those are the places that you can find us.
I love that. I will link everything up in the show notes.
Yes.
Jean, thank you so much for coming on the show today. This was such a fun conversation.
Oh, thank you, Laura. I really appreciated it. Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much for listening to this week's episode. Be sure to check out the show notes at lauracomark.com/podcast. And if you're ready to turn your website into a marketing machine, get more sales, save time, and simplify the back end of your business, grab my free resource, Power Integrations for your website. Head on over to lauracomark.com/power. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to subscribe. And also, I'll just love you forever if you leave me a review. It helps get this podcast in front of other people that can help inspire. Thanks so much for listening. I'll see you next week. Bye now.